Okay, and then the last one is number 50. And if you notice, let me see if I can make this larger. Okay, if you notice, I simply typed it in and then I copied it over several times so I could use the same formula but still see the answers for number 1 and 2. So that's all I did was type 1 in and then copy it over and change it as needed. So we have 2 products of water filters. One attaches to the faucet, and the other one purifies water meant for, it's a pitcher filter, so I guess like you put in your refrigerator. So the unit attaches to the faucet is sold for $90, so there's our selling price of $90. Again, I generally write them out in the margin, selling price $90, or on the top of my paper, a variable cost of $25, so I have a $65 contribution margin there. And the other filter sells for $110 and has a variable cost of $20, so I've got a $90 contribution margin. It sells 2 faucets for every 3 pitchers, so there's my sales mix, 2 to 3. And so steps, first figure out contribution margin or contribution margin percent. And so note they want break-even point in unit sales in dollars. So I can do this a couple ways, and I believe I have it over there. Okay, and so I have, let's do that. Okay, so step 1, figure out the contribution margin or contribution margin percent. Multiply it by the sales mix, which is 2 to 3. Multiply them together, so 65 times 2, 90 times 3, get 130 and 270. Add them together, 400. Step 1, contribution margin percent, or, notice that's an or. Multiply by the sales mix and add them together, so I'm right there at 400. Okay, and then I do the break even, fixed cost divided by contribution margin. So my fixed costs divided by my contribution margin of 400 gives me 3,000. So right up here, 1.2 million fixed cost divided by my contribution margin is 3,000 baskets or bundles. Those bundles are made up of 2 faucets to 3 pitchers. So I take this one times 2 for 6,000, this one times 3 for 9,000, and I've done that there. Okay, then the revenue one, I just simply took the 6,000 times 90, the 9,000 times 110, and got those. So I have 1,530,000. Okay, I could have changed these to percentages, like 65 divided by 90 is a percentage, and 90 divided by 110 is percentage, and then took those percentages times 2, 3, and kind of went and followed the same process. This part down here is just a check figure. So I did my contribution margin of 6,000 times 65 and 9,000 units times 90. That's why I put a box around that, is because I've got numbers all over the place. Should have put it in Excel a little better. But anyway, so there's 9,000 times 90, so there's my contribution margin. And then I subtract fixed costs, and if I'm right, I should get 0. Okay, so then we get to number 2. Pause. Okay. Crystal Clear is considering buying new production equipment. The new equipment will increase fixed costs by 208. So notice here was my fixed costs in number 1. Here's my fixed costs in number 2. They've increased by 208,000. Okay, thus I copied it. Obviously, I could have left it over here and just changed the numbers. The problem with that is now you've lost the solution to number 1, so it's just easier to copy over. And we'll decrease the variable cost of the faucet and pitcher units by $5 and $10. So I've decreased the cost from 25 to 20 and 20 to 10. So I've decreased them by 5 and 10. Assuming the same sales mix, how much do they need to break even? So again, if you recall, I have this formula set up. So again, figure out the contribution margin, which is now changed to 70 and 100 because these two changed by $5 and $10. Multiply by the sales mix. I get 70 times 2 and 100 times 3. Add them together, 140 plus 300. It wants how many of each type. So I need just simply break even in units. So I have fixed costs of 1,408,000 divided by 440,000 gives you 3,200. That is baskets of goods, which I take times 2 for the faucet and times 3 for the pitcher. And there's your answer, 6,400 and 9,600. This again down here is just a check figure. I guess I answered it for revenue because when I copied it over I still had that. But I also have a check figure. Okay, let me pause that, make sure I figure out what this is. Okay, so this is just where I did it by hand. Fixed costs are 1.2 plus the additional, so 1,408 divided by new contribution margin of 440 equals 3,200. Break even, 2 of one, 3 of the other. So break even in units, I take it times the selling price to get break even in revenue. So let's pause on that. Okay, assuming the same sales mix, at what total sales level would Crystal Clear be indifferent between using the old equipment and buying the new production equipment? If total sales are expected to be 24,000 units, should Crystal Clear buy the new production equipment? So actually there's 2 questions there. At what point are they indifferent? Okay, so when I set this up, you can see that this, I simply copied this one down. So I've got 130, 12,000. Don't worry about this break even here. I simply copied this down. Then I simply copied this down. So look at these rows and this row right there and your fixed cost row. That should all be the same. So notice the 400, 400, 440. Okay? Don't worry about this because I'm going to work on it. Okay, so it would be nice if you could see the cell color, but it says change the orange cell to plus the bright yellow, then you use solver. Okay, so basically on the solver function, you can only change one cell. Okay, so if I had this formatting off of fixed cost divided by contribution margin, I need this to be the same one as that particular one. So. Okay, so here I just brought up the actual Excel one. Okay, so notice this is the orange, so I need to this cell, you look up here, it's plus B39, so that one's pulling off of that, okay? And so again, all I've done is copied this one down here, this one down here, okay? And now, let me pause this a second. Okay, so you can see that now I've copied them down exactly because I changed this to 3,000 and 3,200. Okay, so now they say the same thing as it did above. Can I get my thing to work? Okay, so now what I want to do is I want it to change that to be the same. So now this changes to 3,000, okay? And now I'm going to add this different cell. So I want this different cell to be this cell minus this cell, okay? So now I'm going to go into Solver, and I want to set the objective. So my objective is that cell. I want this cell to be a difference of the value of 0. So that one's that cell, value of 0, and I want to change this cell. Okay, so everything is a formula here, and I'm now going to solve it. I thought I was going to solve it. This is what happens when you have an error. There is a problem, etc. I think I have some sort of apostrophe in it, so I'm going to have to find that. Okay, I have no idea what I did, why it didn't work that time when it worked the next time, but anyway. So you can see that it changed these both to 5,200 because this simply had plus that cell. So remember, I'm not wanting each one to break even, I want the net income to be the same. So at 5,200, both of them will have net income of 880,000. So hope that helps, and I hope you mess with Excel and enjoy some of these.